Hey guys, so as you can see, I've already started in the back to get the hang of this before I started filming, and I decided to pre-part most of my hair to make the process a lot easier, since parting is definitely my weak point. Things I used the ORS Olive Oil Edge Gel, alligator clips, rat tail combs to part my hair, my very own homemade whipped butter featured in a previous video linked above, and of course Super X braiding hair in navy. So here I'm showing you that I use 3 fairly equal strands of hair to make this knotless braid, and this is the size part I am working with. First, I applied the whipped butter to the section to keep it nice and moisturized in this protective style. Worked that in and then applied the edge gel to the root to give it a neat and crisp look. Splitting the section into 3, I started braiding with my left hand, crossing over once towards the right, and looped the first strand of hair around the index finger, gripping it between the index finger and thumb before continuing to braid. When the index finger came back out to the right again, I continued adding hair until all the strands of hair were added. Now I watched a number of techniques and decided that this was the best technique to get the look I was going for, because I don't really like how some persons do the knotless braid with the roots very thin. I don't really like that look, so I decided to do this technique so that the hair would be added immediately and it wouldn't look as thin at the root. However, I did modify this technique at the front, which you will see later. Now I did have to redo this particular braid because I didn't grip the root properly. So I would suggest looking in the mirror before you braid all the way down and then have to take it back out to redo the braid, because that, my friend, is a pain. Repeating the process, I moisturized my hair, applied the edge gel to my root, and started to braid with my left hand, crossing over once towards the right, looping the first strand of hair around the index finger and gripping it between the thumb and index finger before continuing to braid. When the left index finger comes back out again on the right, I continue to add the hair until all the hair is added, and then I continue braiding down. I know it's probably not the best angle, but I did it a number of times in the video and there are better angles later on, so hopefully you will get what I'm doing. So it's only so long I could keep my hand up in the air like that. So after braiding down a bit, I flipped the braid, changed the position of my hands, and continued braiding down. But you want to be careful when doing that, because if you change your tension, as you can see, there's a kink in the braid. You also want to be careful with your tension at the root, because you don't want to braid too loosely, but you also don't want to braid too tightly, because if you do, a kink will form and we don't want that. No, we don't. As I mentioned earlier, I use a slightly different technique at the front because my hair is thinner there, especially at my hairline. So I used 4 strands instead of 3, and 2 being thinner or smaller than the other 2. and I used those smaller strands first. So I used basically the same technique with the left hand, crossing over once to the right, and I added the first small strand first, and then the second small strand, and then progress to the slightly bigger strands or thicker strands. And this allowed for a smoother transition, and I would actually have preferred if I did this technique throughout my entire hair, but it's fine, it still came out good. So yeah. Be sure to separate the strands as you braid down to avoid excessive tangling at the ends. And on another note, as you may have noticed, I did part out the rest of my hair, and not only by rows but individually. I did 2 rows going backwards at the sides, and at the top I parted the rows going parallel to my hairline, because I don't really like the straight parts going back at the top. So I did this to get the bricklayer pattern. Please excuse the faces I'm making in this video. I was trying to concentrate because I did have to do over a bit of these braids, and I was not about that life. So I needed to concentrate and get it right the first time. Also, in this clip, you can see more clearly how I'm looping the hair around my index finger before continuing to braid. After repeating this process over my entire head, this is the final results. I am clearly feeling myself, and I'm also happy that I was able to do this myself. I did this over the course of 2 days, but I think if I sat down and did it consistently, I would have been able to finish in a day. I was also able to flip my hair around, style my hair immediately after braiding it, and I definitely could not do that with other braids. So all in all, I would do it again, and I would definitely recommend. Like if you like this video, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend, and be safe during this quarantine season. Peace.